I'm Garland Thompson, Media and Program Manager for the Salinas Public Library. These interviews are presented as part of Salinas Stories. The interviews are as recorded and do not necessarily represent the views of the City of Salinas or the Salinas Public Library. For further information, see the City of Salinas Disclosure and Use Policy.
Oh, but my house is still standing down right below me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, the house that I was born and raised in is right below me. Yeah. There's one house in between where I live now and my house that's still there. The house I live in now was a Christensen's house, and it came from where Northridge is.
I see.
And did they move it over there, or did you?
My husband moved it. We had the lot, and so, he moved it over there.
Okay. And you went to high school at Salinas, huh?
Yes. We went to the 8th grade there at Santa Rita School, and then we went to Salinas High.
Was there a bus? Or?
Yes. Yeah, we were isolated. That was 3 miles from town. And that was the only school at that time, Salinas High.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you had the county hospital out there, too, at one time, didn't you?
Yes, I heard about that. That's way before my time, too. But there was a hospital there, too. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to know how high school was. What did you all do in high school? Anything in particular?
Well, for one thing, I used to love to play sports, and I could not because I had to catch a bus, and you have to be able to stay to practice and all that kind of stuff. But school, it was wonderful because, I was from a little school, then you go to a big one. It was overwhelming for a while, though, so many people.
Could you tell us around the years that you spent in high school?
The years I spent?
Or your graduating date?
Yes. I graduated in 1951, so I was there for 4 years, yeah.
So were you out there when they did the races? They had races out in... They held races out in the, gosh, what was it?
In Carr Lake they held races.
Yeah, they had automobile
Yes,
races.
Did you do those?
Pardon?
The races in Carr Lake?
Yes, and that used to flood every once in a while really bad and stuff. But yeah, I've lived here all my life, so
Yeah, you know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
So where did you go to do shopping? Did you come downtown to do shopping?
Yes.
Down the main street?
Yes. We used to come downtown but there was a little grocery store, Massa's grocery store, and so we did a lot of our groceries right there.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the, where's that?
Quick Stop is right now.
Okay. That's right there on Main Street. And what's the side street? There's a side street, Main Street, and then you turn right there. I think of the name of that.
One now is Massa and it's Boulevard on either side. And then the other one is Brutus, I think.
Yeah.
I know Robin's interested in the creek. Did you play
Yes.
much in the creek?
Oh, yes. It used to flow a lot in the wintertime and even flood a lot of the houses right there close to the creek. But we used to go down there and catch pollywogs and all that kind of stuff, And I remember going to school, I was a little girl, and sometimes there was not a good bridge. So I think, I remember my dad and my godfather going down there and putting some boards and stuff so we can get across to go to school because we were, they didn't want us to fall in. And later on, I do believe that they had a meeting with not Sam Farr, but his father. I can't remember if it was Fred Farr or whatever. And they ended up getting us at least a pedestrian bridge. Now there's a car, you can go across it with a car, but at that time just pedestrian. So it made life a lot easier, but then they came and put that cement and stuff, so, you know, that was off limits for pollywogs and all that kind of stuff, because kids used to love to do that.
So you saw, after they put the cement
Yes,
bottom in, you saw a change in
yeah,
the creek.
yeah.
Kind of isolated, separated the neighborhood a little bit too, I think.
Well, from the other side, yes. But it was just that it was completely changed, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I guess the frogs disappeared too, but that's been fairly recently, huh? Isn't it?
Fairly recently, what?
Frogs, used to have frogs.
Oh,
down
I
there.
think there's still some. I don't know if like before, because I haven't gone down there to play that kind of stuff. But this is, you know, my kids and my grandkids, when we go out to my father's, when my dad lived there, they'd go down there and they found him too, so they're 50.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
So for fun, you all kind of ran around the neighborhood? You had
Yeah.
free reign in the neighborhood? You
Oh,
played-
yeah. Hmm.
You played sports,
Yes.
and then when you got to high school, did someone have a car and you could
Yeah.
go around a little bit?
Yeah, a lot better. Yeah.
Did you ever drag Maine?
Oh, yeah. That was every weekend up and down Main Street. Yeah, that was kind of fun, you know. Everybody saw everybody after a football game or whatever. You know.
And then did you go to, let's see,
Mel's?
Mel's?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it smells.
Oh, Mel's wasn't.
A drive-in, where restaurant where you can go get hamburgers and stuff
And
and
where
whatever,
was that?
music. Alisal and I can't remember the street that crosses it. And then right there in front of the high school too was always good. Foster Freeze, but
That's been there forever then.
forever.
Wow. Over 50 years.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
Did you go out to Royal Seco or places like that?
Yes, yeah, on occasion, you know. Yeah, we did. Mhm. Yeah, and yeah, I think different people went different places, you know. But where we went mostly was with when we were in Santa Rita, when we'd get to go on field trips. That was fun, you know.
Oh, where
Just
did
like
you
everybody.
go?
Huh?
Where
Where'd we
did
go?
you go? Yeah.
On the field trips?
Yeah.
San Juan Bautista, Carmel Mission, or you know, wherever.
I remember, I think one time John Steinbeck's class went to see an opera on the peninsula.
Well, you know, not in elementary school. Oh,
No.
but my husband used to drive a bus at and do at Palma. He was gardener, bus driver, janitor, you name it, for a while when it was smaller. And he drove them to the opera and different places, you know, Palma High School. And I think Salinas High, they got to do, you know, a lot better. But hey, these little places were good enough for us Santa Rita people, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So did you work at all when you were a kid or teenager or?
A little bit. When I was, my mother and my sisters wanted to go. We went to and stayed on Cannery Row, that place, and we stayed right there and worked in the fish canneries one a summer when I was out of school. When I was very young, but anyway, I got a job there too, and so we worked in the fish canneries, and that was so fun. So my sister and I, Marie, we used to go around in the neighborhood right there, and we saw, you know, Doc Ricketts' lab and all that kind of stuff, you know, so that was really nice
Did
too.
it stink as much as they say? You remember?
You mean fishy?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Cooked fish, that
Oh,
smell.
no, we
oil.
eat raw fish, whatever. Yeah, yes, it was fishy.
So did you live out there, or did you commute?
No, we stayed there in an apartment, and it's right there on Cannery Row. Now it's businesses and everything, but that's where we stayed, you know, for my aunts and my mother and my sisters and even Dolly, one of these, you know, and so we did. That was fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so did you have other adventures along the way that were kind of interesting, or were they just fun?
Trying to think.
It's kind of hard, I know.
Uh-huh.
I'm also interested if there were any, area personalities. I know out in the LSL, they had someone called Big Hat Hansen. That if someone talks about, I just wondered if you had any.
There were probably a few characters out there, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was quite an ethnic mix out there. There was Filipino and Spanish.
Hardly. Not then.
Oh, really?
Well, in the ranches, yes. See, there were, what do you call it, labor camps right up what is it? Is right there. Firestone.
Oh, yeah.
Back a little ways, there was a camp there. And a bunch of Filipino people lived there. And because I remember hearing about cockfights and all that kind of stuff, even then. So there. And then on Espinosa, there were other labor camps too that they used to work in the fields and stuff. That's what I said. And then there were a lot of Italians and Portuguese on the ranches. They all went to school with us too. Mostly, but right in Santa Rita, mostly it was they used to call us Santa Rita Indians because we're part Spanish or part this or whatever, Yeah.
That's sort of what Mr. Ford said.
Oh yeah. Oh, he does have a great memory because he writes down and he keeps logs, and he's really interested in that, and so does Laverne.
Well, I think it was good if we could get them all together. And
I think maybe what would be nice, only because you get reminded of something. Oh yeah, I remember this or that, whatever.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Did you know the Hardens?
Yes, some people work for him, but
Yeah.
me personally, no.
And you say the ranches, cattle?
No, mostly those would be farms, wouldn't they? Well, anyway,
No, I just wondered
Uh-huh.
what they were doing out there.
produce.
Oh, it was mostly produce.
Yeah, produce.
Well, I know over towards the LSL they had dairy farms.
Yeah, there was one down from us too on there, and it's Shocks, and there's still
Shocks.
dairies too, and down San Juan Grade Road, and so there were dairies too. So some of our fellow students were from dairies and farms. A lot of people.
So how did you learn to drive?
How did I learn? Well, at that time, it was we were able to drive right around Santa Rita. It was a little tiny town, so we learned out there, or we went out to one of the roads,
Who taught
San
you?
Juan Grade. Well, my brother, but when he wasn't around, a couple of friends.
Would take
Yeah.
you would all go
Yes,
in?
yes.
Because I remember Janice said they used to go out maybe Old Stage.
Old Stage Road, Natividad Road, and there was hardly any traffic then, so. Mhm.
Right.
So you say we're Lamplighter Mobile Home Park. There used to be a cemetery there.
Yes.
And then that was taken out. What did they do?
No,
Well-
they had one there.
Yes, Tom Spencer can relate to that too, because he was a young man and he used to be all over the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And they had a mule and maybe a horse or whatever, and they used to go tie him here and there, so that they could eat the
Oh, they could graze them.
grace. Yeah, they used to tie him here and there, and so he saw a lot of stuff too. But my uncle told me that in the newspaper it came out, or some sort of news thing, that they were going to, people should come forward and, because they were going to do something about the cemetery. Now, the people that had people there probably did, I don't know. So they did, there was a notice at one time,
They wanted
but
to-
the rest of them, I don't know.
I wonder if they moved it to the county cemetery. I know there's a county cemetery. And then there's the Catholic, there's two, then there's Old Cavalry. That's out there, yeah.
They should have moved them all, but I don't know whether they did or not.
I think they have to legally.
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I say you should talk to Tom, because I can't say because the second, yeah.
And then it turned into an agricultural field there?
Yes.
Beans and
Yes.
So they moved the cemetery and then they grew beets.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
And I understand there was a horse farm up there at one time. When they first built Northridge Estates, there was horses on the hillside, and they used to come over and stick their head over the fence. And
Oh, yeah. There were jackrabbits and pheasants and owls. We had all those things. Yeah, even on our own fields there, right there.
wow, so you had quite a bit of wildlife around.
Yeah, we
there.
did.
And so, when it rained, was there water in the creek during the summer or not?
Little bit.
Yeah, not much. Huh?
Little bit, yeah. From people watering or whatever, it was a creek. They went down there, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot in the winter, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Joanne Silva, who works for us, her husband lives out on Espinosa Road.
Mhm.
He's looking everywhere for information about Espinosa Lake. Do you know anything about that? I'm just asking.
I know.
everybody, 'cause-
Oh, I don't blame you. Now, see, my brother and my very good friend, they knew all about that. He used to work out there and in that area. But we don't have them anymore, so they knew a lot about those things.
And there was a lake, Santa Rita Creek went down into the lake bottom as well.
Lake spot?
We used to call it the lane, as if that's
Yeah.
the one you mean. That's
Yeah.
the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You called it the lane?
Yeah.
Does the lake itself, or?
Well, there was, because, I remember them going down there and a lot of people going swimming and stuff, and boy, we were told, do not do that, by my parents or stuff, because there were trees all over the place, and then sometimes, there's roots and stuff in there. If that's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
it's the lane.
Oh, the lane.
Well, that's
Okay.
what we used to call it.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
Yeah. And so you used to go swimming down there? Huh?
No, not me, but other
Yeah,
people did.
yeah.
I can tell you were good.
No one's scared.
Wow.
Do you know-
Actually,
Yeah. Do you know anything about, Robin said that people have told her that Santa Rita Creek was called Little Bear?
Uh-huh.
Do you know anything about why it was called Little Bear Creek? or-
That's what it was called.
And that's what you all referred
Mhm.
to
And so do you still think of it as Little Bear or Santa Rita? Because the maps now say Santa Rita Creek.
I know. Either way's fine for me. But that's what we we knew it as, But Santa Rita's fine too.
And that kind of came over, I understood the change happened when the city incorporated Santa.
I would think so.
And then it
I would
started
think
becoming
that's
known
when it
more as
happened. I would think so.
Santa Rita Creek.
Yeah, we tried not to go into the city. They had all kinds of,
Yeah, it was turned down.
elections and whatever, and finally they got us in, mostly the Northridge, because they had, I don't know, well, anyway, we
Well, I know
got taken in.
Sal didn't-
Because we're still, in the little old part of the town. I am still.
And what can you identify the sort of street boundaries that
Yeah.
would be the old
Uh-huh.
part of Santa Rita? That would be,
Pedro and Brutus and Bolivar. What were the names of the original?
Prado is Prado.
Yeah,
That's not Pedro. Prado,
Prado.
because I live on Prado.
yeah. So what were the names of the original streets there?
Well, they changed them. One of them was Johnson, and it became Prado. Another one was Santa Rita. We were named. I'm living in the same place, and it changed 3 times.
Really?
Yes,
the street.
I was Johnson, Santa Rita, and then Prado. So I don't know who in the heck's doing that stuff.
Do you know someone to name Prado out there?
No. We tried to get it Alvarado, but they had done an Alvarado Street over here by Sears area or something, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that would be for your family. then,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, we tried to because, it was being separated and everything, see, along to my part of it is my uncle and then my dad and my other uncle. So there were the 5 acres into 3 deals, and so, yeah.
That was where the mall is now, you mean?
No, where, I moved the house from the mall. We
Yeah.
moved the house from the mall.
So you're all, on Prado, you
Yeah.
have all your relatives who are around.
I did,
Mhm.
That must have been really nice.
It was fabulous. At one time they said, it's like Kennedy compound here, but no, we had to, my husband and I had it was really rough, almost as bad as, the prices falling out of everything now, of land and stuff, in 1969 or 70, 71, so we had to sell lots.
Would you tell us how you met your husband?
He was in the Army, and I met him at a dance.
In Salinas, or?
I think it was Fort Ord. We went over there because they used to
Yeah.
have a bus to go over there and dance with the soldiers. I think it was there.
Oh, so you used to go over and dance with the soldiers and.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they've been,
There was a recreation department had a bus, but you had to have, and there was a chaperones and whatever, and so you went over there. Yeah, we went to go dance with big bands. We saw Harry James and all kind of people over there. It was wonderful.
I know they did, they've had, Salinas has had a connection with the military for a long, long
Oh, I
time.
miss them, especially the band that they used to come and play for, the rodeo time and parades and stuff. Fabulous band.
So there was a recreation hall over there that you would go to?
Here, the one here in Salinas.
Oh,
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah, the
Oh, the Arbor?
USO building? You mean the
No,
USO?
recreation department.
oh yeah. That's a World War II building then.
Yeah, it's across the street from the post office, more or less, or in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you met your husband at a dance,
Yes.
and I guess he went to work for, he was from Texas?
Yes, he was born in New Mexico,
Oh, New Mexico.
but then they moved and he was raised in El Paso.
You know, the book.
Yeah, that's why they did the Up from El Paso thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book, and it gives a very interesting view on, how things were for someone like him at the time.
Oh yes. See, and his dad, they had 10 children, so he and his brother, his father made them quit school, and he loved school, and so to help support the kids in the fields, stuff. So later on, he went back to school.
Oh, he did?
Well, after we were married, I said, we can't do anything anyway, you might as well go back to school, and he did. And he got his, GED, and
And then, so that was just from like the adult school, or they probably did it differently, this.
yeah, and then he went to
Hart.
Hartnell, and then he,
Did he?
yes,
And
and then
then-
he went to other places because he had to learn the law, Yeah.
Mhm.
mhm.
And he became a police officer.
Yes.
didn't he?
He worked at Palma for a while, and then he became a policeman.
You said he worked at Palma now. I don't think that opened until like about 1951 or somewhere around there.
Well, that's about. Yeah, my uncle was working there because he belonged to the Knights of Columbus, and like my sisters and everybody had moved away, and he wanted to move. His brother wanted us to move to Los Angeles, and then somebody else wanted us to move to Hayward. Everybody was trying to, and so my dad and my uncle, my godfather, didn't want us to move. So he says, I have this job. I'll pass it on to you so you can get a job. So he got him to stay, and so we stayed.
So it wasn't really easy to find a job then?
No, we were leaving. No, we were going to leave. He could have found a job, but they want us to move, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so, no.
Oh, I'm glad you stayed.
Yeah,
Here you
me
are.
too.
Yeah, I
You
know.
are.
I know. My mother and father were happy about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And your children grew up in the
Yes,
Southern
yes.
area?
Yeah.
And was the school open by then, or Salinas High School for your children?
Yes.
That
Yeah,
was a-
my
that-
sons went to that North High.
Did they like it, do you know?
Oh yeah, it was nice. Well, they used to call it what Disneyland then because it was all new or something. Because
At the high school in Alvin?
mhm.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first ones that opened in Salinas.
After Salinas High,
Yeah.
and then there was El Sal, and
Yeah.
of course Palma, and all the other ones. But yeah,
Do
that
you know
was
where your parents went to school?
my parents. My father and my uncle, the family were living at that time in Hollister. My dad. My mother was born and raised in Santa Cruz.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. And then they came down to Santa Rita.
Monterey first. That's where they.
Well, they went down to the
Monterey.
Carmel, right?
Monterey Carmel area, yeah.
And then they moved out to
Mhm.
Santa Rita.
Yeah, because a lot of our people were there, and my uncles.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave for posterity? Is there anything you'd
I
like
can't
to
think
say
of
about?
anything.
What do you talk about when you all get together once a month or whenever it is? What kinds of things do you talk about old times or
oh,
new
sure.
times or,
Uh-huh.
yeah?
We do. How things have changed, yes, of course. What we do, we do meet and we go have lunch somewhere, and then we yak and talk, and so it's most social,
Yeah.
That's what we do. Mhm.
And North Main Street was the original Highway
Yes.
101. So how
Mhm.
busy was that as a kid?
Very busy, accidents all the time in Santa Rita, just like they have all these accidents on San Miguel before they put the thing. Santa Rita, there was a lot of accidents all over the place,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you had to make a left-hand turn or...
Yes, to go into town. Yeah, it was pretty busy.
So it was quite a well-traveled road then.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's the main highway
It was.
going up north-south, huh?
Yeah, it was.
So
How
yeah.
did that change when they put the freeway through? Did that make a big difference?
Yes, a lot less people stopping into, whatever, but still a lot less accidents and stuff, Oh, yeah.
So when did they move the highway over?
When did they?
Yeah, was that the 70s or 60s? Or
Oh, no, before that, I'm sure.
50s or...
Uh-huh. Well, it might have been around the time when they were doing Northridge and all that stuff too, I can't remember.
I know that I'm frequently asked, and there were in that little spot there where Main Street goes up into North Salinas area, a lot of streets changed, and so I'm always having to get out old maps, and they'll say, well, my parents lived here. There's no street.
I know. And they closed a lot of streets too, right in Santa Rita even.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because it was like a little, box thing, whatever, and so they closed some streets. Uh-huh.
So some of the streets crossed where the highway is now? Went into the
Yeah,
down
Prado
toward
for
down
one
toward
thing.
the lane and all that?
Yes. Hmm.
Wow.
Some people have talked about the separate areas of Santa Rita. You talked about that too, where it's
So
been
Bolson
cut.
Knolls in the north, and I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Santa Rita, because the street, you mean, separated us?
Yeah, street.
Yeah, it did separate one side of Santa Rita to the other side, yes. Uh-huh. But,
You just live with that.
yeah.
Because Mike Ford, he lives on the other side from the
Yes,
highway.
yes.
And he
Uh-huh.
said they used to cut underneath the bridge that went over Santa Rita Creek. They would walk through there because of
Well,
the traffic.
the traffic was terrible, yeah, to get from one side to the other.
Yeah, so they walked under the bridge where the creek runs to get over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so did your, when your husband worked as a police officer, did he often tell you stories about what he was doing and things that would happen?
You mean from Santa Rita? Because he wasn't originally from Santa Rita,
Well, Well, he was a police officer in town.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
So did he tell you stories about
Oh, yeah.
crazy things that he run into? And,
Oh, sure. Uh-huh. Yeah, he did.
Did he like it?
He liked it to begin with, but it became kind of rough because there were only a few Spanish-speaking police, you know.
Yeah.
And so he got night shift most of the time, and so he didn't care for that too much because Chinatown was really booming at that time and stuff, you know, and so they needed a lot of people at night shifts. So, and it got where people were not as respectful as policemen too, you know, and so he was approached by a city manager that they needed somebody, and so he changed jobs.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
So then he spent the rest of the time working for the city as an
Yes.
inspector.
It was a existing housing inspector, so he did not brand new ones.
Right.
He did housing inspecting and, you know, other ones.
Was this when people asked for permits, or did he just?
Yes.
So it was only going out to inspect for the permits?
I don't know. It was for
Additions
what
and modifications?
yes, whatever they needed to be done, he had to go out and do it.
So he was bilingual then.
Oh, definitely.
I think that'd been an asset for him.
Oh, sure it was.
Yeah. And so how long was he an inspector then?
19 years.
Really?
He worked for the city for 30, so
Wow.
either 10 for as a policeman and the other 19 for, you know, inspector. So
Wow. Good long
Mhm.
time then.
he did.
And so how many kids do you have?
I have 3 sons,
And grandkids? You have grandkids?
6 and 8 great grandkids.
And are some of them still in the area then?
Yes, Nick, my oldest son, lives up the hill from me, and his 2 daughters live down the hill in 2 little houses, and
Oh, in Santa Rita.
right there in Santa Rita. Yes.
Yeah. You wouldn't think there's much of a hill, but there is. As you leave the creek,
I
you
love
go
it.
up. It really
Yeah.
goes up.
Yeah, I always loved it up there. You know, it's a little hill.
That's a nice area.
Mhm.
It's a nice
Oh,
area.
so you're still surrounded by family.
Yeah. At least them. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to, just as a question came to my mind, can you tell us a little bit about your husband and who he was and what he liked about the area or being here, or what attracted him or what didn't attract him, or whatever you want to tell us?
I guess he liked it here because he got used to Fort Ord, you know, the weather. He was from hot country, and his people were all by then in Fresno, and so he just liked to be here, and he found a job, and he liked the people, and he was involved with you know, being a coach for baseball and all this kind of stuff with our kids, and what else? Well, he just liked that part of, I think, you know, who doesn't fall in love with our weather, you know?
Well, people, yeah, I hear the same thing from a lot of people. It's a good living, and
Yeah.
the weather's fine. And
Yeah. And we were close enough that he could go see his people whenever he felt like it too, you know? And so maybe that's part of it. Found some good friends here, and I guess he liked his jobs too. The people he worked with, and so.
Did you do after-school activities with your kids? Did you coach any sports yourself?
Well, my
Did
husband
you-
would get involved in it, and then sometimes you have to work. I'd be have taking him here, there, and everywhere too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a baseball coach or in 4-H or any of those things? Or?
No, I was busy raising the family and doing whatever he couldn't do. So I went and, you know, yeah, I was taking the kids here and there, and not only my kids, the neighborhood kids, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I find there's somebody in the neighborhood that does that. They
Yes.
hang out at someone's house, the whole neighborhood will converge,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
that parent or parents kind of
Yeah.
shepherd people around. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened to us. And he liked it, but every once in a while he'd grab, he says, why can't they play in somebody else's lawn? Look at that, look at the lawn, the mess they make here, because they're playing football and whatever they're putting up tents and whatever. But anyway, I think that's probably what he liked the most, you know, good friends and weather. Yeah.
How about the book?
The book? Well, he was approached to do that one they call it an open door series, so that kids would not quit school, because they would hear, you know, all the
Want to
time.
put the book out?
Oh, me.
And you can say
Okay.
it's about your husband.
Yeah. And so he wanted to, they asked him to write a book, and he said yes. So, because he used to go talk to kids in school sometimes and tell them, stay in school. I was a migrant worker. I had to go, you know, and work in the fields. And he said, I wanted to go to school. And so he encouraged these kids to keep, you know, going to school. And so I think that's one of the things. And then he started this Indian group to keep kids out of trouble, you know. So he started teaching. A
So
priest asked him if he would.
Teaching dancing?
Yeah, he taught them how to dance that. And then he had a girls group too, Indian girls, you know, group. Yeah. And so afterwards he would dance at Christ the King Church, at the Mission San Antonio, at the different missions, San Juan Bautista, take the group to go for different, and here in Salinas, and in the Como Parade, they marched, and yeah.
It was quite an active group. My
Yes.
goodness.
Uh-huh.
How long did that go on? I mean,
Huh. Oh, many years. Let me see, from 1960 until 2000, I guess.
Do they have a name for their group?
They call Aztec Indian. They called them Matachines, and it's that's what they're known as.
Wow.
and nobody took it over, nobody kept
Well,
going.
No, it's up to my sons, but they haven't done it, you know.
Did they learn how to dance too?
Yes, they play the drums and everything too. It's really nice. They do. Maybe they will someday, but as of now, they don't.
Because there
They
is a
haven't.
local Aztec dance group.
Uh,
There was two of them, now there's one.
well, this one, he was first in 19, you know,
Yeah.
and they used
I was
to.
gonna say there is a group today, but maybe
Yeah.
it's not the same people.
No, it's not. No. These were all, some of his kids are still around, and they remember him from that too, you know. And then, of course, he did this too. A lot of people know him because he helped them get their houses brought up to code or whatever, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the older areas of town, the buildings weren't real, or they're built of wood, and they just started disintegrating.
Well, another thing is there's a lot of people who have a lot of houses and they rent them, but they don't keep them up. So they would, you know, go and inspect them and make them bring them up to code, you know, for the
Yeah.
tenants that are living there. Hmm. Yeah. So it was a good job, but at the same time, it was kind of sad that he had to go make people fix up the houses. You know, and they should be able to do that themselves. But that's what he had to do.
Well, it sounds like he was very kind about it.
They liked him, you know, he made it, yeah.
I know
Most
Dad
of
was
them. Most of them.
So when you were shepherding your kids and the neighbors' kids and all that, where were you taking them?
To baseball practice, you know, at wherever they were, or playing a game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Would you take them like to church or to the movie or to?
No.
anything?
Practices and stuff. Well, we did that when we were traveling or something like that, but with my husband too, you know. But, no, mostly all those kind of things I did, you know, take him to practice or ball games.
Right.
Because maybe he couldn't make it, and then he'd arrive in the police car, and they were all so happy to see him, you know, because yeah,
So where would the games be?
all over Salinas, you know, El Dorado, here, there, you know, all the. I dropped something, huh? It's okay. Okay.
So was it a school team or an after-school?
Like Little League games,
Oh,
you know.
yeah, clubs, like-
Yeah, Little League and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, I really appreciate your coming here. I
Thank
know
you.
it's
I hope there was
not easy.
something good out of here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You told me some things that I really didn't know.
Okay.
You know,
Good.
It's just, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Oh, good.
It's been wonderful. And we'll have to work on maybe getting the group to get together.
I would think so, because to me, you would maybe more information, because, you know, with everybody there, we hear the other one say, oh, yeah, I remember this, or with something else, you know.
Maybe even more fun.
Oh, a lot more fun. And it wouldn't be nerve-wracking for me either.
I'm so sorry but you've done really well, I know.
I hope so.
Oh, you've been wonderful.
Oh,
You
yeah,
really
yeah,
did.
right.
You did
I can
wonderful.
see you here better.
I've been there.
You
I
have?
just- Yeah, yeah, Roland had to get Jan to come in and ask me questions. 'Cause I'm just-
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you did that.
Because it's really hard just to sit there and be the only one.
I know, the attraction, you know, the main attraction, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
it is. It
Yeah.
is hard, and I
Okay.
do thank you so much.
Okay, I'm glad. I hope you did get something out of
I
this, you
did.
know.
Very
Yeah.
much
I
so.
did.
Yeah.
This is just, it's always fun, it really is.
Okay, and then some of these things that I did say, you can try and find out more, like the cemetery, like I told you about, and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Exactly. And-
Yeah.
And maybe when we get the group of you together, that you'll have ideas too, taking away.
Oh, yeah,
from
some
this
more.
to think, you know.
Yeah, some more. Mhm.
So really, I think.
Yeah,
it's-
I wish we could find some pictures of the creek a long time ago too, you know?
Yeah,
Some
Laverne-
more.
Laverne has some, because you saw the one out there.
I've seen all those, but I mean some other ones, that, you know, where,
yeah.
yeah, where that little bridge thing going
I
by.
will tell you that if you have some pictures or documents or anything about newspaper articles or anything about Santa Rita, we can scan them into the record here.
Okay,
That'll be part of the, when we make the DVD, we can put up a picture and hear a voice talking about stuff and that kind of thing. So
Okay.
we have, I just forgot to tell you, but we're doing that too.
pictures, okay.
Pictures or newspaper articles or anything,
Oh, okay,
anything like that.
okay.
And actually, since we spoke about your husband, any pictures of your husband or
Oh.
stuff from him you'd like to share?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was about that. I just thought it was about the creek, so I didn't know.
Well, it's, you know, a little bit because we're talking to the people
Sure.
as well. So it's the creek, but also if we get to know a little bit about the people and
Oh, okay,
who they are.
okay,
You know, it helps people get a feel for the.
okay.
for the
Pictures
creek.
of your kids putting a tent up in the yard and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if there are any pictures of you guys playing in the creek or in the.
Oh, that-
watershed
that's- I wish we
area
would,
or
you know,
camping
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
picnic, any, you know, that kind of stuff really helps.
Did you
Yeah.
picnic around or not? Did you go on picnics and that type of thing?
Us, well, we had some cousins that lived in Los Gatos, so every once in a while we went to Los Gatos because they had a pool, you know, in the creek, and there's trees and picnic grounds and everything. So that's where we used to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every once in a while, you know, yeah. Because my mother's sister, and she wanted to see her, and we'd have a wonderful time. Yeah. So that's what we did. So different people did different things, you
Yeah,
know.
they did, yeah.
Mhm.
They'd go out to Arroyo Seco. or they-
Yes. Yeah.
Perchance, did you ever go up Fremont's Peak?
Yes.
It's beautiful up there.
Uh huh.
I go up there and have dinner. I get a takeout and go up there and watch the sunset.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, a lot of our people do that. In fact, my my granddaughter, who's going to MPC right now, she called me one night. She said, "We're planning on doing this. We got our cameras ready and this and that." And then she said, "How's the weather?" I said, "Sorry, baby, it's all foggy." And it was, but she wanted to check and ask first.
Yeah.
And I know other people who have gone up there, and they just spent the night, but they couldn't see anything, you know. So you just never know.
I took my family up from Virginia. They were here in
Oh,
August,
wow.
And the fog was coming in, and it was just just couldn't believe it. It was amazing, truly
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we live close to the ocean, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You see a big blanket over us, huh?
You ever go up and look through the telescope up there?
I have.
That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually saw Hale-Bopp the comet up there.
Yeah?
On the ridge. A guy was taking pictures with
Yes.
a telescope,
Yes.
and he said, "Here, look through that," and you could see it. It was such a powerful telescope. You could see the comet rolling.
You're kidding.
I actually see
Wow.
the thing. It was like and you can see like a bow wave in the front of it. It
Wow.
was really amazing. I have never seen anything like it since. But he was up
Sheesh.
there taking pictures because the fog comes in and blocks the light.
Right.
And so the astronomers go up there to photograph.
Wow.
And I'll never, it gives me goosebumps.
Sounds amazing to me.